Today we are going to talk about two-step inequalities. Our learning target is that we can write, solve, and graph inequalities. Inequalities are mathematical sentence that shows the relationship between quantities that are not equivalent. So here we have our inequality symbols. Our first inequality symbol is less than. And when we are reading a word problem, our keywords for this inequality symbol is below, fewer, and under. B is less than 2. It is an open circle at the 2. So I go to the 2, make an open circle, and I am shading to the left. If I were to take this inequality symbol and make it into an arrow, it would be pointing to the left. So when our variable is on the left-hand side, I can use that method to show us which side we're shading. Our next one is less than or equal to. Our keywords in a word problem are at most, does not exceed, maximum, no more than, up to, and not above. So less than or equal to means that it includes 4. Therefore, it's a closed circle, meaning that 4 is a solution to the inequality, and we are going to shade to the left. Our next one is greater than. And our keywords are above, exceeds, more than, or over. T is greater than -2. It does not include -2, therefore we have an open circle. And I have an open circle at -2. My variable is on the left-hand side, which means I can use my inequality symbol to draw an arrow, and I am shading to the right. And then my last inequality symbol is greater than or equal to. Keywords at least, no fewer than, minimum, no less than, not under. And because it's or equal to, it means that 1 is a solution to this inequality. Therefore, it is a closed circle at 1. And we are shading to the right. So here we have a graph. If we look at our graph, we have an open circle. So that means that we have 2 options, and that's less than or greater than. So if we write our phrase, we have X. It is pointing to the direction, so we're going to go to the right. So that means that it's greater than. So if I look back at greater than, I could say above, exceeds, more than, or over. So I could say X exceeds, and then the number that the circle is at, which is 5. And that gives me the inequality X is greater than 5. Again, I'm going to write my variable to the left, and I notice it's a closed circle, and it's pointing to the left. So a closed circle pointing to the left is our less than or equal to, which means I'm looking at most, does not exceed, maximum, no more than, up to, and above. I'm going to choose at most. That's the most frequent phrase used. X is at most 10. And if X is at most 10, that means if we look at our number line, we can tell that it stops at 10, and all the numbers that it includes in the red is less than 10. So it's at most 10, which means X is less than or equal to 10. Okay. So write and graph inequalities. X is less than 5. Again, I can look back here. X is less than 5. I can use the keyword below. So that means any numbers below 5. And going to the graph, I'm going to place 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Below 5 is an open circle pointing to the left. I'm going to push pause, and I want you to do the next two on your own. Okay, I used any numbers up to 3, which means it includes 3, it includes up to 3. And then X is greater than 9, so any numbers above 9, not including 9. So now we're going to solve, and to the right I have the steps to solve. My first step is to draw a line through the inequality symbol, and then I write sad mep to the side. This is PEMDAS backwards because I'm undoing my operation. So if I look here, that is a positive 8, so the inverse operation to that would be subtract. And then this is multiplication, so the inverse operation to that is to divide. So then it says on step 3, solve your SA on both sides. I decided that I'm subtracting, so I'm going to solve my subtraction on both sides, which is a positive 8, so I'm subtracting 8, subtracting 8. So I'm subtracting 8 on both sides, and that gives me negative 7n is greater than negative 28. Then it says on step 4 to solve your MD on both sides. Negative 7n means multiplication, so I am dividing by negative 7, dividing by negative 7. This becomes n. And then if we look at step 5, it says when multiplying or dividing by a negative number, we flip the inequality sign to remain a true statement. So instead of greater than, I'm going to write less than. And then negative 28 divided by 7, if I use my wheel, we have a negative dividing by a negative, which is going to give me a positive answer. And then 28 divided by 7 is 4. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm graphing n is less than 4. So that is an open circle at 4, shading to the left. Number 2. Number 2, we have a line down the middle. Then we write sad mep. This is negative 2, so my inverse operation would be adding. This is dividing, so my inverse operation would be multiplying. So my first step is to add 2 on both sides. This becomes 0. R divided by 9 is greater than. Those are different signs, which means I subtract. So 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 has a greater absolute value, so therefore my 1 is positive. Addition is done, so now I need to multiply. Multiply by 9 on both sides. Multiply 9 divided by 9 is R, and R is greater than 1 times 9, which is 9. So over here, I'm going to graph this inequality. It is greater than, which means it's an open circle at 9. And I'm shading to the right. I want you to push pause, solve this problem, and push play when you have finished. All right, so sad mep, my inverse operations are adding and dividing. I added 1 on both sides, giving me 4x is less than or equal to 32. And then I divided by 4 on both sides, x equals less than or equal to 8. Less than or equal means that it involves 8, so it is a closed circle shading to the left. Number 4, you're going to do on your own, and then check. We will check it tomorrow. Make sure to write any questions if you have any questions. And then number 5, a car rental agency rents a car for $26 per day. Remember, we learned that per means multiplication and then per day, plus 50 cents per mile. So here we have 2 multiplications. So we're going to have to decide which one we are using in our problem. It says if your travel budget is, remember, is means equals 200. What is the maximum? This is going to tell us our inequality sign. Number of miles you can drive during a 1-day rental. So it gave us our day. So when we're asking maximum number of miles, this is our question mark, which means that we are going to use this as our variable, not the D for day. So that means that we have 50 cents per mile and $26 fee for the 1 day. And our total is 200. Now, we're not doing an equation. We're doing an equality. So instead of equals, we're going to be using this word maximum. And if we look at our first page, maximum is right here, which gives us our less than or equal to inequality. So it should be less than or equal to 200. So push pause and solve this and press play when you have finished. Okay, I wanted to finish the division with you. So we're dividing by 0.5. When we divide by decimals, we want to make it into a whole number. So we move it over 1 time to make it a 5. And then what we do on the outside, we have to do on the inside. So our decimals here and move it over 1 time. And so now it becomes 5 dividing into 1,740. 5 goes into 17 3 times with 2 left over. Bring down your 4. 5 goes into 24 times with 4 left over. And bring down your 0. And 5 goes into 48 times with nothing left over. So then our answer is M is less than or equal to 348. What does 348 represent? M is less than or equal to, sorry, my pencil is freezing on me. M is less than or equal to 348 miles. That is it. Please make sure you ask questions if you have any.